Have you ever wondered how people celebrate their weddings and certain wedding traditions in other countries? Well, today my speech is going to be over the Asian wedding traditions. I'm going to start talking about a lot of the symbolism that they have that is included in the way they celebrate their day. Uh, we're going to start with Japan. In Japan, we'll start with the betrothal period. The betrothal period is when the male and the female are dating, and he wants to really impress this potential bride-to-be. So he gives a lot of gifts to the bride or the bride's family, and one of the gifts that they give each other is seaweed, and the seaweed is supposed to represent a childbearing woman. So that's part of the symbolism with that. Another piece of another gift would be a long white piece of hemp, and that represents growing old and gray together. Another gift that they give is a folding fan, just like this one. And this represents a future with wealth and growth. Most gifts are given in an ornate rice paper, but the main gift is money. And when I say money, I'm talking about like $5,000. And they put the money in the special envelope that's called a shugi bakuro. It's tied with gold and silver strings, and it's impossible to unknot. So this is a really important thing for them. During the wedding, the Japanese bride will wear a silk kimono, and it's usually adorned with purple iris flowers, and the purple represents love. During the ceremony, they have a couple of different traditions. The ceremonies, there are a couple of different types of ceremonies. One is the traditional Shinto ceremony, where the natural spirits are called in to bless the union. Another ceremony would be the Buddhist ceremony, where they have two strings that are interwoven together, and it represents combining the families. Another thing that they do is they share sake, and they each take 3 sips, and then their parents take 3 sips of this sake, and the number equals 9, and the number 9 represents cementing the bond in the family. They honor their parents for a long time during the ceremony with gifts, and then for the receptions, like in America, we have where the bride and the groom get the gifts, but in their ceremony or in their receptions, the gifts go to their guests. And they may get something like origami cranes or bags of sweet almonds. Next, we'll go to Korea. Korea, from AsiaHotels.com in 2009, their betrothal period starts from where the groom's the groom's friends, they dress up in these costumes, and they put black face masks on, and they run in front of the bride's parents' house, and they have a box of gifts, and this box is called a ham. And they go and they sing and they chant in front of this parents' house, and they're going home for sale in their language, and they are basically asking the family to come out and negotiate, and the family runs out and offers them money. And once they get all their negotiating and they get all the gifts, it's all in fun, and they all laugh and play around about it. So it's kind of a fun tradition. That comes from the author Shushu Costa from the book Wild Geese and Tea, an Asian American Wedding Planner from 1997. There are also, during the betrothal period, the family of the groom gives the bride's family a whole roasted pig. And I'm not sure what that represents, but apparently it's part of the tradition, and it's a big deal. When all this fun stuff is over, then they have a fortune teller come in. And the fortune teller is there to to read the future of this couple and see if they see that they're going to live in a harmonious marriage. It's very important though, because for their engagements alone, once they're engaged, their gifts are about $30,000 to $40,000 a piece, and these are just for engagement gifts. This has nothing to do with the cost of the wedding. During the wedding, the bride's family hosted at their house. The bride and groom bow to each other, and then they drink special wine out of a gourd that the mother grew in her own garden. Before the wedding, the groom gives to the bride's mother a wild goose, and over the years they've changed it. Instead of a live wild goose, it's changed to a wooden goose, and the reason why is the wild goose represents the lasting love. Geese mate for life, so that's another part of the symbolism. Their reception is very simple. They have noodles for their food, and that's all they have, and it just represents having a long and happy life. Next we go to China. In China, the proposal is quite a big deal. So the family has a go-between that is kind of like the mediator, and he goes between the two families to negotiate by sending gifts, and if the gifts are accepted, then the family of the bride gives the go-between document that includes the potential bride's birth hour and date on a formal document. Then they take this document, the family accepts this document, and they go put it on their ancestral altar, and they sit it there for 3 days, and then after the third day, if nothing bad happens, no bad omens or anything, then because if something bad does happen, then they'll just do away with it. So like if there's any arguing within the families in the next 3 days, then they'll just do away with the idea of them getting married. If nothing happens and everything is well, then they call an astronomer to read the horoscopes of this couple. Once the astronomer sees that they're going to be a good match, then the families meet, so they haven't even met. During a Chinese wedding, the bride will wear a red kimono, and it will have on it gold phoenixes, chrysanthemums, and peonies. And that represents wealth and good fortune. The groom will wear a black coat over a robe with a dragon. The wedding is very simple. They pay homage to the heavens and the earth. They drink tea, and they bow to each other, and then they're married. Then we go to Indonesia. In Indonesia, their attire for their wedding, because there's so many different cultural diversities in Indonesia. The bride may wear a batik, traditional textiles, or a kebaya, and these are all just different things, different kind of gowns or something that they can wear. Their engagements, the couple's engagements, may last many, many years, and the groom's family chooses the bride who they want him to marry, and if he accepts, then they go along with it. The wedding is very, very simple. The biggest celebration is in the reception, where they have thousand plus people are invited to this reception. So they rent out these big, huge halls, and if they say that if it could be somebody you work with, it could be your family member, it could be your cousin, it could be somebody on the street, but if you've been invited to this celebration and you don't show up, it's an insult to the family. So it's very important that everybody, whether they're acquaintances or what, if you get an invitation, you just go. The bride and the groom come into the reception and have to formally meet each and every person in there. So this is a very long process. The bride comes in first, the groom comes in after her, unlike here in America where it's the other way around. The groom in Indonesia gets all the celebrations, so this is his day, not the bride. As they're going down and meeting all these people, and there's partying going on throughout the whole thing, they actually have cots set up in a lot of these where the children can sleep while their parents party into the night. That concludes our Asian wedding traditions. And so I appreciate your time. Thank you. And